Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
And Houston Station, we are ready for the event.
Cascade Community Schools, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Trin Pham with Cascade Community School students. How do you hear me?
Good afternoon. We hear you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
Loud and clear, thank you. I'm honored to have the opportunity to welcome all of you to the Shoreline School District, Cascade Community School. Thank you to NASA, our astronauts Chris Cassidy and Luca Parmitano, Future of Flight, Shoreline School District, and everyone for making today's event possible. We now move to the main part of our event, questions and answers from our students and flight engineers.
My name is Alden. My question is for Chris. When an astronaut is outside the space station, how does he get back into the space station, and how do you prepare to come back to Earth?
Oh, that's a fun question for me to answer for you today, because we happen to be inside the airlock of the International Space Station right here, with a spacesuit on either side of us that we're going to wear in just a handful of weeks in July when Luca and I do a spacewalk. And the way, much like in the very cold of winter, when your mom and dad probably don't want you to just open the front door and walk outside. You might have a little mudroom or something where you go into, close the door to the kitchen, put on your warm clothes, and then step out to the cold winter. That's how we do it on a space station. We'll put on our spacesuits, go into our airlock, close a small hatch right behind the two of us right now, and then open a hatch to go outside. And we leave that outside hatch open during the whole 6 hours while we do a spacewalk, come back in through the very same door, and then reverse the process to come back to right to where we're standing right here, right now. And when we prepare to go home, the only thing we can do is cherish the moments we have here, because it's going to be over in the blink of an eye. We work out all the time to stay fit physically, but mentally it's hard to prepare to go home because it's such a fun place to be up here.
My name is Cece, and my question is for Luca. How does the space station work, and what is the main purpose?
Station, this is Houston ACR. We're not hearing your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. And break, we can't hear your microphone again. Negative copy.
And Houston, can you hear us now?
And we copy your mic. Negative copy. And station, this is Houston ACR. We're not copying your mic. Can we please continue on Space to Ground 2?
Hello, how do you hear me now?
Great.
Loud and clear.
Okay, so I was just about to say that the space station is very, very big. So in order for it to fly at 17,800 miles per hour, it was built in small pieces, kind of like a Lego station. So first they brought a piece, and then the space shuttle came and attached another one, and so on until they built this huge station. It's about 100 yards long and 100 yards wide, just like a football field. And that's how it works. We have solar panels that catch the sun, the rays of the sun to produce electricity, and that provides enough electricity for all the station and everything we do. And then we have recycling systems so that we can recycle our water and live inside the space station comfortably. The main purpose of the space station is actually, I would say, three purposes. I would say it's science, technology, and exploration. And science, we do science every day. We have over 150 experiments that we interact with daily that go from physics, engineering, new materials, combustion science, all kinds of things that we do here, physiology. So science takes a lot of our time. Second part is technology. Here on the station, we use new technology that is being invented right now so that 20, 30 years from now, a new generation of astronauts can fly further away into space. And the third thing is exploration. As I said, all these things that we do have a focus. That is, one day we need further away than the place we are right now. And so the new technology and the science that we are discovering right now will help us further our exploration towards the stars.
My name is Joey, and my question is for Chris. What are some of the experiments you have done in space, and are any of them from kids?
Oh, it's fun to do experiments in space, and yes, they are. Some have been from kids. The one that comes to mind right away is an experiment called Spheres, which is a small soccer ball-sized satellite that maneuvers around inside the space station, and we have three of them, and they can maneuver relative to the walls or relative to each other. And what's going to happen this summer are students just like you guys are participating in writing some of the computer code that will be used for different obstacle avoidance and certain types of programs that these spheres will run to have a competition amongst different types of schools. So that's one that I find particularly fun, and students just like you can be a part of.
My name is Luata, and my question is for Luca. What is the most interesting experiment you have done on the space station?
So I've only been here on the space station for about 2 weeks. So right now, until now, most of the experiments I've done have been on myself. So I have subjects of experiment, almost like a guinea pig. And these experiments are experiences of physiology. We try to figure out what's happening to our body and what's changing because of the lack of weight. So one that I find very interesting is a study on how our eyesight changes because of the different environment. And just last week, we together with my colleagues, we were scanning the eyes and doing all sorts of different tests to see how the shape changes, how our perception changes, and then in the future we will be able maybe to control these changes and find a way to limit any kind of damage.
My name is Samantha, and my question is for Chris. What did you imagine it would be like to go to space, and how is the reality different from what you imagined?
Samantha, can you imagine if right there in the room that you're talking to me from, instead of your feet being on the floor, you were floating around with all of your classmates in the middle of that classroom? That's what I envisioned to be like. And guess what? It was exactly like that. That's how we live every single day. It is so much fun to float around here and just pass the rooms that we have and float up to the window and look down at our wonderful planet. It's just a thrill. And I wish that every person down there on Earth can experience it, because we're really fortunate that we get to.
My name is Ami, and my question is for Luca. How long are people generally on the space station?
We couldn't really hear that question. Could you please say it again?
My name is Ami. And my question is for Luca. How long are people generally on the space station?
That's a very good question. So, in my generation, we have astronauts come up for things that are called expeditions, and each expedition is about 6 months. So Chris came up in March, and he will be going back in September after about 6 months. And I only came up 2 weeks ago, and I will be going back in the middle of November.
My name is Addison, and I have a question for Chris. What is daily life like up in space, and what is your routine?
Addison, I think you said, what do I feel like when I'm in space? And when you first arrive here, your body kind of has some adjusting to do. And you can see Luca here playing with a ball of water, and that reminds me that all of the fluid that we have in our body is the right amount for when we're on Earth. But when we get to space, we have too much. So we spend the first day or two going to the bathroom a lot until we get the right amount of fluid in our body. And the fluid moves around in a sort of stuffed up face. And when I saw Luca 2 weeks ago, he and Karen had big puffy faces just like I did when I first got here. But now our bodies are used to it, and we feel just the same as when we do when we're on Earth. But coming home is going to be a different challenge as we reverse that process.
Hello, my name is Cosmo, and my question is for Luca. Do you have specialized jobs that contribute to the space station?
First of all, I would like to congratulate you on your name. That's a great name, and for a future astronaut. So, all of us on the space station are called flight engineers, which really is just a name to say that we are astronauts on the space station, because here we all do everything. So right now, Chris is showing you one of the tools that we use for an EVA. So in about a month, that's what Chris and I will be doing. We'll be going outside to fix a couple of things, grab experiments, and bring them back in, prepare the station for the arrival of a new module. But when we are inside, we are all space plumbers. We all cook our own food or prepare food for somebody else. We have to fix things like electricians. We have to make videos like I'm doing right now. And so really, we don't have a special job once we're here. We have to be scientists. We just have to be able to do a little bit of everything, and that's why the ground people are so important to us, because they help us, reminding us everything that we have to know in order to do it well.
My name is Isaiah. My question is for Chris. How is food different in space?
I think you were asking about food, and it's just so happy you are talking to the two right guys to talk about food. Karen will attest that the two of us can eat a lot of food each day, and we do our part to make sure that we don't have too much food on the space station. I love all the food here. My favorite happens to be seafood gumbo, and my favorite drink is a mango peach smoothie. Actually, they're very tasty. We have a whole selection of food and snacks, main courses, and everything else. So and Luke is demonstrating how we drink it out of the bag.
My name is Nathan, and my question is for Luca. Do you feel that it is worth the risk to explore the beautiful voids of space?
That's a great question. So every exploration entices some sort of risk. That is, that there's no doubt. 500 years ago, when Columbus sailed on his three little ships across the Atlantic, covered what became America, he faced a lot of risks, and so all explorers do. But the thing is, first of all, it's in our nature. It's the nature of the human being to question what he knows and to always look for what he doesn't know. So it's just something in our DNA that we have to do. And the second thing is that thanks to all the studies and the fantastic engineers on the ground that work for us every day and with us, they make something very hard look simple. But more than that, they take that risk and minimize it to the point that it's actually safer to fly on the space station than driving downtown in an Italian city, where I mean, we have rules and all kind of safety aspects that keep us safe. So I would definitely say yes, there is a risk, but it's certainly worth taking the risk to go forward in our nature and to forward our exploration.
Hi, my name is Elijah, and my question is for Chris. What aspects of life in space are difficult, and what aspects are easy?
Well, that's an interesting question. I would say the daily part that's difficult is managing all of the things we have to do. The ground team puts a schedule for us each day, and it's broken down into as small slivers as 5 minutes. And to fit that all into one day is hard for them, and it's sometimes challenging for us to manage it all and make sure we complete all of the objectives for the day. That's probably the daily hardest thing. The other hard thing is to always be concentrating and realize that at any time we could do something that could be bad for the space station or bad for ourselves or our crewmates. Those two things combined are always in the back of our heads as we make our way through the day, even on a normal day. And the things that are easy to do is just enjoy being up here. We're here for 6 months, which sounds like a long time, but I've been an astronaut for almost 10 years, 9 years or so, and this is the only time I'll be up here for so far for an extended period of time. So we really want to take advantage of it, and just enjoying the moment is something that's very easy to do every day.
My name is Andrew, and my question is for Luca. How does the space station benefit society?
Well, it kind of goes back to the question that you asked me before about what is the main purpose of the space station. So earlier I said science, exploration, and technology. Well, two of those things actually can be put directly on the ground as we are speaking. I'll give you an example. There is a study going on right now on the space station. One of the experiments that my crew and I are doing. It's called Pro-K, and it's a special diet that studies a balance in proteins and potassium in our body to prevent loss of calcium from our bones. What happens is that here on the space station, because of the lack of weight, we have a very fast onset of osteoporosis, which is exactly that. It's the loss of calcium from the bones. But that doesn't happen only in space. A lot of people on Earth are affected by osteoporosis. So imagine if thanks to the results of this study, we can go back to Earth and tell people, look, you don't have to take medicines, you don't have to undergo special medical operations, but you can just follow a very simple diet, and that will keep osteoporosis away and keep your bones and your body healthy. So the discoveries that we do here on the station, the science and the technology that we are inventing, they actually have a lot of application directly on the ground.
Hi, my name is Nicholas, and my question is for Chris. What were some of your fears about going into space, and how did you overcome those fears?
Well, Nicholas, I I one time heard a famous astronaut named John Young say this, and I couldn't agree with him more, and that is, if on launch day you don't have a little bit of fear, then you don't understand what's happening behind you. And I think that's really well said. Now, I'll caveat that with, we have a lot of really smart people putting a lot of effort into making the program as safe as it can be. But each and every one of us, as on launch day, as we climb into the rocket, we always appreciate the amount of energy and power that we're sitting on top of as we blast off into space. So that's one thing that we roll over in our minds. But in the end of the day, when we strap in and put the seatbelts to click and wait for that countdown clock to go to zero, we're there to do a job, and we're there to do it as best as we can. And I think for all of us will agree that when the time comes to launch, it's all about getting here, responding to any problems that arise, and then getting to space safely.
My name is Emmeline. My question is for Luca.
What? What do you miss most about Earth?
Oh, that's a very good question again. You guys have all very good questions. So again, I've only been here for 2 weeks, so that's like going camping, and you can go camping and you don't miss anything for about 2 weeks. So the time to miss things still really hasn't come. However, I will tell you that I am Italian, and one thing that the Italian really like is coffee. Now I have adjusted all kind of different coffees, cappuccinos, long coffees, short coffees, but I sure wish that there was an espresso machine here on the station that I could use to make a nice, short espresso cup to wake me up in the morning and give me a jolt of energy. That's something that I could certainly use, and it would make everybody else happy because it would wake me up instead of being half asleep for the first half of the day. But other than that, I would say that I really miss my family and my daughters. But when I think about that, I also have to think about all my colleagues in the Air Force that are deployed somewhere else, and those guys are deployed for months and months away from their families, and certainly they don't get to enjoy life like we do.
My name is Abigail, and my question is for Chris. What kind of training did you need to be able to go into space?
Abigail, that's a great question. So it generally takes about 5 years or so from the time you become an astronaut until you are really going to space. So that's about the same amount of time as when you enter kindergarten until you graduate elementary school. And that's the amount of training we go through. And the first 2 years of that is largely just learning the basics about life in space and how do you do business to get here, live safely, and come home. And then the next few years are really specific training for the exact mission that you're going to be on. Luca and I were training for 2.5 years before we arrived here on Space Station, me a couple months ago and Luca just a few weeks ago. And then we'll go home, support other missions for a while, and then maybe if things work out, we might get to come again in a few years down the road, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many years it is. But it's a long process. There's a lot to learn, and the main thing we need to have is a core fundamental understanding of how to safely operate the space station and respond to any emergencies, and that's why it takes so long. The other part to the length of training is it's an international space station, which means we travel to all different countries that are partners on the space station and train in those locations on the systems that those countries provide to the space station. So it's a great deal of school, but it's one that's really fun to be in.
Thank you, astronauts Chris and Luca, for your time. We really enjoyed learning from you this morning.
Station.
To all of you in Washington State, we enjoy being with you. Have a wonderful summer. Everybody take care.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you, Cascade Community School Station. We are now resuming operational audio communications.